mục tiêu về hiệu quả điều trị cũng như là cái mức độ giảm đau hoặc là cái thời gian điều trị. Good morning, Dr. Allen. Yeah. Today you will be present the topic lesson learned from line acceleration from 50,000 cases. Yeah. You will share to us on how to integrate the technology of photobiomodulation accelerated and pen-free for more than 50,000 cases with the fish, appliance and aligner orthodontic treatment. We hope you will guess the objective of the how long to decrease the time treatment and pen and also the treatment free. So please, in your turn now, present your lecture. Please.
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. So what I'm going to do is basically speak to you all about the history that I've had in the development of devices to help people speed up the orthodontic treatment and also help decrease their pain. So this is a case I'm going to bring up to you because when you look at this case traditionally, you would not think of being able to treat this with aligners. And if you were looking at treating this case with fixed, you would be thinking probably 24 at the best, and most likely at least 36 months to complete. Although he's class 1, there's significant crowding, and he did not want extractions. The tendency now is we try to do the work without extractions, and Anna talked about expanding when he's doing his class 3 cases, which is exactly what we want to do. We want to preserve bone. The other thing is, the majority of the cases that we've done over the years have been with Invisalign. I don't have, and the doctors I work with do not have a lot of experience with other aligners at this point. Now, with Invisalign and most aligner systems, it's very easy to figure out how long your treatment will be. So, for example, if you have 2-week changes and you know that you're going to take X number of aligners, you can figure out 34 months. Yeah. So this is our before and after. And how long did it take? It actually took us 12 months. Why? Well, we used a combination of light therapy and aligners. Also, because we can change the biology of the tissue, we can actually do aligner changes every 3 days. So what we were able to accomplish here is decrease the treatment time by 2/3. So instead of the patient being with aligners for 34 months, we can accomplish the treatment in 12. Most importantly for the patient also, there's some pain. So the first lesson is you can move teeth faster with light. Now if you try to do 3-day aligner changes without using light, you can't do it. You'd be off track very quickly. Probably about a 3rd or 4th aligner you could not actually get it to fit in. Okay? Because we've done the studies to look at control and experiment. So you can't actually really run a control route. Because if you try 3-day aligner changes without any acceleration, which is altering the biology, you just can't move the teeth. So lesson number 1, you can move the teeth faster with light. So what my goals are, I'm going to share some cases and experience that we've had working with both fixed and with aligners. Share with you some of the perceptions that dentists and orthodontists have about what is important for them and what's important for the patient, because there are discrepancies. And by showing you some cases, give you an idea of what we can do. Most importantly now, because one of the things with science and with new technologies is slow adoption. So when it comes to aligners, for example, most aligners that are in the market now that are good will accomplish tooth movement. So what becomes the difference? It becomes price. So do you want to do use the cheapest aligner system possible? Or do you want to offer something different? So in my offices, and I had 35 offices, I don't anymore, because my goal now is just to focus on light therapy. We were able to distinguish ourselves from every other office out there, because if the patient went to see 4 offices, they would basically get a fee from anywhere to $6,000 to $8,000. I'm talking in Canada. But if they came to see me at my office, not only could they get a very similar price, but they could get done in half the time. So that's how we were able to see more patients. And so you have to offer your patients something different. So I'm not an orthodontist. I'm actually an implant guy. So my first foray into using light was the result of my patients saying, look, I don't want to have any pain with the surgery. The second thing is, I don't want to wait 6 months before you put a tooth on. So sometimes what we would have happen is a patient would come in, we do the extraction, we wait 6 months for healing, and they go, well, I'm happy, I don't want to replace my tooth. Well, it's valid, they get used to it. So what we did is we did some research and we looked at how can we actually heal bone and how can we do it faster. We looked at various wavelengths of light and we came up with some studies and we were able to figure out what works for implant and what works for ortho. So you can see the light shining on that lady's cheek. So for implantology, we use red light. So that actually hardens the bone. Now I'll show you a video of the orthodontic device and you can't actually see the light because it's infrared. Now you can if you have infrared glasses or if you use certain types of phones. Okay. So let me talk to you about the biology a bit. So that's just a quick review, which many of us remember from our basic science. So what is the basics that we have to look at? Well, remember when you were in school, everyone studied and we looked at cellular metabolism, and the fuel for all cell function is ATP. So what light is, it's actually a packet of energy called a photon. And our body has the mitochondria, which are responsive to the photon. So it will absorb the photon and convert it into ATP. So the first thing is, if you have more energy, you can do things with it. In our body, we can repair. Now, what do we know that's similar? Well, my first exposure to this was photosynthesis. So in grade 3 or grade 4, we had experiments, which we did in science, where we looked at how we can use light to grow plants. So So what we did is, and I remember distinctly, we took a plate, we put some lentil seeds, we put water, one we put in the closet and one we put by the window. The one in the closet, nothing happened. The one we put by the window, we had plants. So that shows you the power of, and back at a young age, I realized the power of sunlight. Now, how old is this technology? In 1903, a Nobel Prize was awarded showing you could use light therapy to help people heal lupus, which is a type of skin infection. Subsequently, in the 1930s, they were actually able to determine that the terminal enzyme called cytochrome C oxidase is what gets stimulated by light. So why was light not adopted more? Well, first off, think of your cell phone now and think of your cell phone iPhone 1, right? A huge change in technology. Light bulbs back then were not very good. Now we have LEDs, and the latest types of LEDs are as strong as and actually better than lasers, plus cheaper. So we knew even back then that we could use light to help heal people. But what happened? Well, antibiotics came along and painkillers. So people are lazy. Everyone pop a pill, right? They want instant, 1 or 2 hours, 15 minutes, you want to feel better. With light, it takes time because your body has to absorb it. It has to turn things around. So let's take a look at the wavelengths. The most important thing to know is that we work with what's called visible light. So UV light itself, UVA and UVB, it's at the lower end of the spectrum. So too much of that, you get sunburn. The good thing with the visible light is that you can't actually overdo it. Because what happens is if you give the person too much visible light, it just stops working. Now the way you think about it is if you're taking vitamin C, your body can only absorb so much vitamin C. Then afterwards, you just pee it out. With light, your body can only absorb so much of the light, and then it doesn't do any good to take any more. However, it's not harmful. Now, what are we looking at in terms of the wavelengths? Blue. So what I don't have here is devices that show you using blue. Blue is used in the meat industry and food to sterilize. Now we have a device for perio. So we target perio-pathogens with 2 different wavelengths, 405 and 450, depending on what type of biology we're trying to affect. Most commonly, people will know light as red light. So that's anywhere in the 650 nanometer range. That's what I showed you with the implant device. Then we have the near infrared in the 800s, 840, 860, because that penetrates deeper. Then the last you have is infrared. And infrared goes right down deep into the bone. However, what you have with light is not only what you see and feel in one local area, you also have something called systemic effect. So the most profound exposure I've known to systemic effects is a researcher out of Israel, and what he did is, if someone had a heart attack, he would shine light on their shin. So as we get older, all our bones get hard, so we lose the ability to have stem cells. In adults, we still have some stem cells in our tibia. So if you shine light on the tibia, you can actually help a person heal from a heart attack. So that's called systemic effect. So not only does light affect one spot, it affects your entire body. So that gets us into the wellness side of it. So, basic science with light. Lesson number 2, there's science-based principles behind that treatment. Number 1 is you increase ATP. So here's the ATP molecule. Number 2, you increase blood flow. Why is blood flow important? Well, blood brings in the good stuff, but it also takes out the bad stuff. So when I was doing surgery, if someone didn't bleed at all, I was worried because I needed the blood to come in, right? I don't mind if they have a little bruise, but I do need blood flow. And then you also relieve swelling. But we know, and the research has shown that there's at least 32 biologic effects that light can exert. Number 1 is, for example, something called nitric oxide. What does nitric oxide do? Nitric oxide helps your capillaries, your blood vessels expand, so you can get more blood flow in. So that's important because it stimulates the healing process. So here is a quick video of the device, which I'm going to show you.
Connect the mouthpiece to the battery pack. Start with a fully charged battery. Press the on-off button on the side of your battery. This battery is specific to your PBM ortho device. Gently hold the mouthpiece in mouth. Align the device using the V-notch. Do not bite down. Turn the device on. A blue light will indicate the treatment has started. During treatment, you will feel a warm sensation. After 4 minutes, the first side is complete. Flip the mouthpiece, turn the device on, and repeat on the lower jaw. Treatment is complete. To clean, rinse under warm water and let air dry. Store your device in a cool, dry place.
So you can see it's very simple to use. It's a take-home device, so the patient gets to take it home, and they use it between treatments. And the treatment time is very short. So 4 minutes on the top arch, 4 minutes on the bottom arch, 8 minutes total time. Ideally, you want to do it in the morning, and you also want to do it at night. Because remember, the light is creating energy, your body uses up the energy, so you want to put some more in. Now, let me show you, this is how we started. Quite a change from what I just showed you, right? So this was, again, based out of my research with and work with the implant devices, because when I was doing implant surgery, I didn't want to put anything on the mouth. That's why everything we had was from the outside. So this is some research we did in Thailand and with Foresight in Boston. And done over 10 years ago. So here's a closer look at how we measure the movement of teeth. So on the lower, we're using Little's index, we're measuring how much crowding. So in A and B, that is an untreated case, no PBM, and we had 131 days of resolution. So that's how long it took till we got to 0. With the PBM or light treated, we were able to get treatment done in 50 days. So as you can see, a significant decrease in the treatment time. So what you would expect to see is if you see your patient on recall, the teeth just move faster. More importantly, the patients will tell you no pain. And the way we have them use it is before they get tightened, before you do your wire changes, they actually use the device. The hygienist or the dentist doesn't work, put the light in again. So what they do is they have a pre-treatment, they have a post-treatment, and they have 0 pain. Now, how about liners? So this is a case from 2015. So we thought originally when we did the Invisalign, and again, we can count the number of aligners, it was going to take him 12 months. So at that time, it's 26 aligners times 2 weeks equals 1 year. We were actually able to accomplish the treatment in 4 months. Because, again, he was changing his aligners much faster. So the question is, how long have we been doing it? We've been doing it for at least 10 years, longer in fixed, because that's where we started. But now we do more aligner treatment than fixed. Now, remember I said the concerns of the dentist and the concerns of the patients are not normally the same. Every time I came here from my hotel, the traffic is a nightmare. And even everywhere, it's crazy. So no one has more time for commuting. The other thing is no one wants pain, and no one wants to take painkillers. So using light, it's drug-free pain relief. Now, what about pain and patients? So most patients will report that they had pain when they change the liners, and also when they have their fix changes. In North America, for example, 40% of my patients that I see were adults. And they were reluctant to do treatment because they remember when they were young and they had their braces tightened, they would eat oatmeal or scrambled eggs for 4 or 5 days. Right? So they're like, I don't want to do it, I'm going to have pain. So we go, okay, we can try this. So this is some papers that were published. And what they said is orthodontists underestimate the degree to what that the patient is experiencing in terms of pain. So more along that line, orthodontic treatment, they often don't think they're causing pain. Now pain is not just wire changes, it's also seating bands, putting molar separators in. So there's more to it that can cause pain. However, we know that if you use light, you can decrease that. Now what about in time? So think about it from the perspective of the patient and traveling. So if you can reduce the treatment by 50%, and the average visit takes 12 visits, you can save that patient 6 visits. So what does that mean? 1 hour to get to the office, 1 hour at the office, 3 hours to get home or to work. That's 18 hours. Not that much when you think about it, but it's the inconvenience of interrupting a day. And I hate to say it, dentists never run on time, so your 1 hour appointment is not 1 hour, you're there for an hour and a half, and then you have to get home. The doctor, you save time. So you don't see the patient 6 more times. That means you have more time to see patients. You have more free chair time. And everyone wants more chair time, right? No one wants to work longer hours. So any way that you can get extra chair time, this is one of the things. So time. Patient concerns, generally in terms of time and pain, are not the dentist's concerns. Now, why has this not been adopted more? Well, when anything new comes out, people think it's what we call snake oil. Right? So when you think about Invisalign, only now is Invisalign and aligners becoming standard. But how long has it been around? 20 years. So the fastest things that ever were adopted, and this includes medications, were, I know it sounds strange, drugs that were approved quickly. One is Viagra. I know it's weird. The second was the COVID vaccines, right? We were able to get them in less than a year. But everything else, even if it's the best anti-cancer drug, will take time. It's just the way that our system is. So lesson number 5, technology adoption is slow. So what are the things that I've created? So I created 3 devices. The first is the light device I've shown you. The second is vibration. And the third is whitening. And I'll explain to you why. So from the perspective now of the patient again, because first I said to the patient who's talking about time, right? The second was pain. Here's another case. This young gentleman comes in and he said, look, I don't want any teeth taken out. I don't want braces. And I don't like the color of my teeth. So we did the workup on him, and we found out he needed 89 aligners. Now that doesn't include refinements. So when we do the math, if you're doing a 2-week protocol, even if you're only doing a 1-week protocol, right, you're looking at 3 years for treatment. Now what happens after 1 year, right? Most people will lose their steam. So they don't clean as good, they don't change their aligners as good, the results are not going to be as good. So the magic number is you want to complete your treatment in 1 year or less. So when you do your fees for your treatment, do you charge the patient a time or do you charge them for a result? That's something you have to figure out. For me, when I was in this implant world, I just ended up charging the patient for result. You know, I'm going to charge them for anesthesia, for bone grafting, for implant, for gum grafting, for stage 2. Then the list can get huge. And then the thing is, if you don't do one procedure, do you give them a discount? Right? Or if you do an additional procedure, do you charge them more? So that's why when I did my treatment, I just charged a fee for result, and that's what we do with ortho as well. So how do you present the case? So what we do is, we will present the case as, you can do treatment, and if we do acceleration, we can do your treatment in 1 year. Yeah? So this is the result we had on that guy. So we were able to get his treatment done in 1 year. So at that situation, we can say, if you do 89 aligners times 2 weeks, or even 89 aligners times 1 week, you can be at least 3.5 years and maybe at the best 2 years in treatment. So that fee is $8,000. So again, this is my numbers from my office. If we do faster treatment, you can change your aligners every 4 days, that fee is $10,000. And we don't sell them a device, we sell them a treatment plan, and we let them choose. And of course, we always mention no pain. Now, the one thing is, they don't have to start the accelerated protocol right away. So we had patients come in, I'm gonna get married in August, as you predicted, with no acceleration. I was going to be done in December. That's not good. I don't want attachments. I don't want anything to my wedding photos. So, okay, guess what? You can do the accelerated protocol, and they know it's going to cost more. So what does the literature say? Because people always worry about cost. So yesterday I had a discussion with someone, and all they were functioning was cost. So the study was done, American Journal of Orthodontics, and they surveyed patients, and they found that if parents and patients would give the ability to finish their cases faster, they were willing to pay at least 20% more. So that's what the literature is saying. And my personal experience, and this experience of doctors I work with, they do that too. Also, now I talked about how you present your case. We don't sell pieces, we sell the case. We also talk to the patient about pain, and in a situation, if the patient came in and said, my teeth are stained, so example, this guy finished his ortho, but we weren't going to leave him like that. We were going to whiten his teeth. So how did I come up with a whitening product? Well, the problem is when I first thought about it, when I visited this one factory, I told them I don't do whitening in my office because it causes sensitivity. Then I realized the sensitivity was caused peroxide. So I created a gel that has 0.1% peroxide. What about other technologies? So the first thing I said, let me talk to you about light, but now what I'm going to talk to you about is vibration. So why vibration? Yeah, because vibration is just different types of energy. And the way we use vibration is primarily to help seat aligners. So you can use a Chewy, but most patients stop using Chewies after 1 or 2 weeks. Also, they have the TMJ problems that start happening because they chew it. So what I used to do a lot of, instead of using Chewies, we'd give them a saliva ejector. So they would put 2 saliva injectors in and bite it down, because it gets much more even pressure. However, what we do now is we use a vibration. So what they do is they take the vibrator, they put the aligners in, they put the vibration on, they bite on it, and it pushes the aligners in. What that does is it gets the aligners fit better. Now for fixed, we also use it, and we find that we actually get better results using vibration for fixed versus light. So you have to think about, how do we take a tooth out, right? We take a tooth out by grabbing it and shaking in the bone, expanding the socket. Well, the vibration, it's the same thing. Also with vibration, you get a good pain relief. So if you have a sore, achy muscle, you take a little vibration thing and you use it on your muscle. So that's why you also get the pain relief effect with vibration. So what we like to do in our office for people who really want to get done faster is use a combination of light and vibration, 2 different energy sources. Now you can see this light is red. The reason it's red is I'm putting it on there so you can see it. The ortho device, you can't see it. Remember, it's infrared. Okay? So we have two different energy levels creating a biologic, and I call it a synergistic effect. So what that does is 1 and 1 doesn't equal 2, 1 and 1 equals 3. So you get them compounding to give you a better result. Frozen there. Now, the other thing too is, I've shown you cases where we do whitening. This is one of my receptionists. She was going to do Invisalign afterwards, but the thing is, our protocol was, you can't get whitening until you finish. Because we've had patients do it, and they have attachments, and when we take the attachments on, they have these little dark colored triangles. So what she did is she did her whitening first, and then she did her Invisalign. This is my wife's best friend. You can see she has pretty nice teeth on the bottom already, but she's also a social media influencer, so she wanted whiter teeth. So she went ahead and whitened. So here's a case of a young lady, and she came to see us. Oh, sorry, it's kind of blurred, but basically what we have is, she's 40 years old, she was going to get married, lots of crowding on the front, upper and lower, some cross bites, class 1. So what we talked to her about is, when you finish, we'll whiten your teeth. And the other thing too is, we're going to finish it faster. As I said, it's a formulation I made that's only 0.1% peroxide, so the patient doesn't have sensitivity. So yours is before and there's her after. You can see she got really nice white teeth. She was super happy, no attachments, great wedding photos. So again, the original prescription was 46 liners. At that point in time, we were doing 2-week changes. Even now, we are down to 3 or 4 days, so we were able to complete a treatment in 6 months. So our total treatment time again was significantly reduced, and the only way we can do it is with some acceleration. Now, when do you want to introduce acceleration to your patient? So one of the things is, we introduce it right from the get-go. So depending on how you get your patient. So if we have a patient that contacts us and says they want to have orthodontics done, we say, look, we offer 2 types of treatment. We offer you the regular treatment with regular time, and we offer you accelerated treatment. So we can actually we normally email them, or they download from the website forms, which gives that an explanation. Then when they come in and we talk to them again, we do it as a new patient exam or the consultation, and we talk to them about different types of treatment. So we always discuss the fees. We always tell them that it's an extra charge. No surprises. And then when we go through delivery, if they decided they don't want to do accelerated, we tell them there's always an option. Now, most often what ends up happening is, after the 2nd or 3rd recall, when they come in, they're kind of fed up. And they go, okay, I think I'm going to do acceleration. So talk about faster, pain-free treatment right from the get-go. And don't be scared to talk about the fees. So what does that mean? So if you look at the average GP office doing 100 cases a year, in my case scenario, I charge an extra $2,000 for the accelerated protocol. So if 50% of my patients decide to do accelerated, that means I've added $100,000 to my billings with no added extra overhead, okay, except the cost of devices. Now, 50% of the patients that chose not to do acceleration, later on at some point will go, I want to do it faster. So we just keep adding the math into there, all right? So what ends up happening is, we can actually increase our revenue by $282,000 in 1 year. Because we have more chair time, we can see more patients, we get new patients because they talk to their friends about how they got their treatment done faster. Now, the one thing that really strikes me is that I'm at this meeting and I'm looking around at the age of all the dentists, and they're very young. So that means you guys have a lot of years of practice left. So if you work another 20 years and you make an extra $282,000, you're making over $5 million extra. So one person always asked me, what would I do now if I had to become a dentist? I said I'd do orthodontics before implant surgery, because the ability to earn is much higher. What about root resorption? Because that's the thing, people go, okay, you're moving in so fast, what's going to happen to the roots? So we had a study done, and what it did is it looked at patients with CBCT scans, okay? And looked at the roots Now, this is one of several papers, but this is the best one that I have because I actually know the orthodontist. And he Dr. Kalabiali, was the guy that worked with Invisalign to go from 2-week to 1-week changes. His office and his patients were the reason they switched to a 1-week change. And so he's very well respected. And he went and looked with CT scans, and he found there were no statistically difference between pre and post-treatment root volumes. And this is in patients who change their aligners every 3 to 5 days. Now, an interesting, and I don't have this paper here, if the treatment is done on kids, you actually get the roots elongated because the light therapy is stimulating growth. The kid's tooth is still developing, so they actually grow slightly. You know, not massive, but there's enough of an increased root length that's noticeable on the CTs. So, lesson number 11, there's no root resorption. Always the concern of everyone. So what are the lessons again? Because I went through a lot of them. You can move teeth faster, but you need to use light or vibration. There's science-based principles behind this treatment. You know, a Nobel Prize awarded in 1903 shows that this therapy was being used at least 10 years before. In my case, we've been moving teeth faster, both fixed and aligners, for at least 10 years. There's a dichotomy or a mix between what the patient sees as a problem and what the dentist. So dentists really don't pay much attention to time for treatment, and does hurt. Technology adoption is slow. That's why a lot of you don't know much about it. It doesn't happen quickly. You have to change the way you present a case. Present the case based on the value of the treatment, not how long it's going to take. Use all the available technology. So in my case, we're using light, we're using vibration, we're using white. People want straight white teeth. In other words, you finish this great orthodontic case, the teeth are nice and straight, but if they're stained, you're missing something. Talk about faster treatment, pain relief right from the get-go, because the patient needs to know. It can be immensely profitable. You're not doing anything wrong. You're actually doing a service for the patient, because you're not causing pain. And there's no root resorption. So what are the conclusions? Worldwide, more and more people want straighter teeth. As countries get wealthier and people have more money to spend, they want to look better. So that means orthodontics. Because how people judge other people when you first meet someone is you look at teeth. You look at color of teeth, you look at the shape of teeth, you look at if there's holes. But no one wants to be in treatment longer. Right? In this world now, no one wants anything longer. When YouTube first started, think of the video used to be minutes. Now we have reels. Everything's like 10, 15 seconds. Right? Everything's faster. So, as I said, I created the orthodontic device. All of our devices are take home. Right? They are non-invasive, meaning they're not drugs, but they do give you a relief. Combination of light and vibration is the best. And everyone's concerned, does it cause root resorption? No. So to summarize, patients are becoming more and more aware of different treatment options because of social media. So for example, where do we see the biggest job opportunity in the world? Japan. So Japan is my largest market right now. Now I have some dentists doing 100 cases a month. Now, strangely enough, patients are now coming in asking their dentists for acceleration because influencers and people are popping it up. We've had inquiries from Cambodia, for example. How do I get my teeth faster with your device? How did they know? Because we were not even in Cambodia because of the internet. People can learn. So what I've shown you is some successful cases. We have thousands of them. We document them too, and we have happy people. So what is the most valuable thing you can give to someone besides better health? To me, it's time. Like, no one has enough time for anything. And as you get older, you'll realize that time is the most valuable commodity you have. So if you can save your patient time, that's perfect. So what's stopping you? So thank you for Videc for inviting me and letting me share my stories with you. As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about this. Thank you to the Inman team, so Dorothy, Candy, and my assistant Lynn from Singapore. So we are actually a Singaporean-based company. And if you want to get more information on the product, their stand is B133 on the third floor. And thank you to all of you for your time and attention, because it's an interesting topic. And we are available for more questions and answers. If you want to contact me, so there's my email address. So for example, if you want to get copies of the resorption papers, I can send them to you. If you want to see more clinical cases, I can send you clinical dossiers. Because there's a lot of information out there. I'm willing and very happy to share it with all. So on that note, thank you again. And please feel free to drop by.
Thank you, Dr. Allen, with a very attractive and excellent lecture. We know now you just provide some evidence base to differentiate with or without use the lies. And we understand now the mechanism to accelerate tooth movement and by photobiomodulation and how to increase the ATP, increase the blood flow, and enhance the oral cellular process. And we understand now is the non-orthodontist, periodontists, and implantologists can be applied PBM, right? And we hope next year that they increase the treatment time, less spend, and receive more patients. We hope that. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Bây giờ là đến các quý chị hội thảo viên mình có đặt câu hỏi, xin được nêu câu hỏi lên.
So I have one question for you. Yes. So you outline in your outline, you outline the people bring three, right? And bring the photo or bio motivation into a minute, right? For quick time. What happens if the patient wants to accelerate more rapid? In that case, is it possible the patient wear the outline for whole day? If the patient wear the outline for whole day, is it like the complication or not? Thank you.
So again, as I said before with light, there's a certain limit that your body can use. Now, I have not shown you the latest design of my device. So the older version has only on the buckle, the outside, the lights. We have a new version where we actually have lights on the inside. And doctors are telling us that they're getting less than 3-day aligner changes. Now, you have to really pick your case correctly. Because if the patient's not cooperative and not wearing their aligners at least 22 hours a day, then very quickly things will go off track. Now, the way that you can think about it is this. If you're moving the tooth, right, and it's moving, and then the liner stops working. Now, when should you put the liner in? You should actually put it in before it stops moving. It's like with your car. You don't want to keep pushing the gas. You'd rather just keep going continuous. So when I took my orthodontic training, because I told you I was an implant guy, the things that I remember was you want continuous light forces of pressure. So that's why changing your liners faster is not necessarily a bad thing. But using the light more, it's not. The there's actually a law called Arndt-Schultz law, and it talks about optimization of sweet spot. So you notice we talked about the battery is specific. When I engineer and design devices, each device has its own battery. That's how much we control the energy. So you couldn't use the vibration battery on the light device. The same thing, you can't use the perio on a TMJ device because they are not giving the right power. So this isn't more is better, right? You have to hit the right spot. So if you have any other questions, as I say, come to the booth, email me. I'll be very willing and happy to share information with you.
Các quý vị còn các học đường các quý vị có câu hỏi gì không ạ? Đây là một cái chủ đề rất là hay và cái công nghệ của thế kỷ 21 cho cái việc mà điều trị năng chỉnh răng nói riêng và còn rất là nhiều các chuyên ngành khác nhau. Chúng ta có ai có câu hỏi không? Vâng, nếu mà chúng ta không có câu hỏi thì xin tiếp theo xin kính mời